Hey y'all, welcome to Your Drama, Not My Drama, where we gather to read Reddit stories about the drama in other people's lives so that we can keep drama out of our lives. If this sounds like your sort of thing, make sure you subscribe and like the video for more. Now, let's dive in. This post comes from the subreddit Wedding Shaming. It goes, "They want my daughter to be a flower girl at their wedding, but I'm not invited. Have I been eating crazy cakes? Am I off base? I really need to know." Becky is someone I have known for many years. We are in the same social circle, more like friends of friends, but we are not super close. It's really more like acquaintances I run into from time to time. I do see them and hang out with them at gatherings, probably 3 to 4 times per year, but I've never been to their house nor them to mine. I am a single parent to an 11-year-old girl, and I received a call from Becky, who has never called me in her life before this, if my daughter would do the honor of being a flower girl because there are no other young kids in her family. Side note, my daughter would eat that up. She'd love to be a flower girl. I asked for the wedding date and where it was, and she told me that it was at a winery in the middle of nowhere, almost 2 hours drive from where we live. But she also said that it's an extremely intimate wedding for family and a few very close friends, and unfortunately, there wouldn't be room for me at either the ceremony or reception. I'm sure you can understand that, she said. I told her I'd have to look into it and call her back because honestly, I was too stunned to reply. Definitely understandable. Listen, I have zero problems not being invited to anyone's wedding. You do you, and do you on your day, no problem. But let me get this straight. Becky wants me to spend the time, money on getting a flower girl dress and shoes, drive my kid 2 hours away to a winery in the middle of nowhere, and drop her off unsupervised with a bunch of adults, and I should do what? Wait in the car? Wait down the road? Wait in the bathroom? Wait in the kitchen with the caterers? LOL. There isn't even a cafe within 30 minutes drive. Am I off base thinking this is just totally bonkers? No ma'am, you are not off base. You are not bonkers. The lady who's having this wedding, the bride, is bonkers and wild for this request. One thing I'm learning about Reddit is that there are so many people with audacity that's insurmountable in this world. But let's see what the comments say. Add Potential 8802 says, "You're right, this is bonkers. I'd be saying no. No matter how much she would love being a flower girl, I would not be leaving my 11-year-old daughter alone with a bunch of people she didn't know who would be drinking." RD0815 says, "It's fucking creepy. She's expecting you to doll up your girl and leave her all alone with a bunch of strangers in the middle of nowhere." I Am Trying My Best says, "It's totally bonkers for sure. And from her perspective, I can't imagine asking someone to drop their kid off and not want the parent to stay. I can't imagine asking someone to lend me their child for a few hours as a prop, right? At a faraway, isolated location. And telling the mom they're not welcome. Like, yeah, does she think you'll just sit in the car for a few hours and wait? Also, it's a bit weird in so many other aspects. When they get their wedding photos and someone asks, 'Who is that flower girl?' And Becky is like, 'Oh, it's the daughter of this lady I kind of know.' Is her mom in any of the photos? Where was she during the wedding? Dunno. She was probably in the car or something." And like, what if your daughter feels overwhelmed or gets confused or is hungry or can't find the toilet? Is there someone even dedicated to take care of her? A safe adult that she trusts? I mean, your daughter is a child. Ugh, it's nuts. I would be saying no for sure. Like I said, they are using her daughter as a prop, and I think it's really weird to even ask someone who you don't even really know that well to borrow their kid. And to borrow their kid with your full chest. Like, yeah, can we borrow your kid? And by the way, you can't come. I don't know. It's just weird. It's super creepy. It would make me uncomfortable. I wouldn't do it. What would you guys do? Let me know down in the comments below. Now for our second story from the Newlywed subreddit. It says, "People complaining after your wedding?" 32 married for about a month now to my wonderful husband. Our wedding was amazing. All the hard work and planning, it really was a picture perfect day. And for the most part, people cannot stop complimenting us about the day and how much fun everyone had. Everyone was feeling the love, but of course there has to be someone who has to try and ruin that. First, I was told that some of the extended family on my side were upset they were not in the immediate family photos. Mind you, extended family on either side were not in them, and this was purely due to timing. With our couple shot, immediate family and wedding party photos, it took us almost 2.5 hours. It was a lot. Comments were made that it wasn't right that they weren't in them and it was disrespectful and that I didn't do my wedding right because of this. Now, there were plenty of opportunity to take photos during the reception, and not once did they come to me to request a photo. As you can imagine, I was a bit busy, so it wasn't realistic for me to run around asking everyone for a photo. Now my husband has a couple were not invited to the wedding, his friends, and simply because we needed to stay within our numbers, and this couple we haven't spoken with or seen them in probably 6+ years at this point. We happened to go out with them the other night, and one of them pulled him aside and let him know that she was offended that we did not invite them. I just feel like this is so offside of people to be acting this way, and now they are trying to take away from the beautiful day we had and shift the focus to being negative about things that frankly cannot be changed now. I just find it to be so distasteful to question what people decide to do with their wedding. Am I wrong? What are some of your thoughts on this, and has anyone dealt with this similarly? Honestly, I think it's weird for people to expect to be in the official wedding photos if they are not in the wedding party, or like mom and dad or siblings to the bride or groom. But also, like OP said, what difference does it make to complain now, right? However, I get staying within your numbers, but they were able to go and have lunch with these friends that they did not invite. So they're close enough to go out to lunch with, but not invite to the wedding. I don't know, it seems a little off to me, but let's see what the comments say. User Beautiful Flow 309 says, my wedding is coming up in September, and there's a fair amount of strong opinions and negativity around the planning. It's definitely a bummer, but it is more informative for how these relationships move forward. I'm sorry to hear you're dealing with this. I agree, it's unfair. Content Future 614 says, just in case you want to avoid the type of complaints the OP received about not being in photos from extended family, I was able to get photos with all of my guests between the time after the wedding and before the reception. We made sure to announce groups for photos, immediate family, extended family, friends. For 125 guests, we got all the photo knocked out in less than an hour, and we had photos with every single guest. No one opted out, even though it was completely optional. Then afterwards, just as newlyweds got a private photo session to ourselves. The guests mingled, and we had set out and self-serve drinks and snacks during this time, and were directed to the reception so that they weren't waiting for too long. Allison Hudat says, people with very little to do in their lives take pleasure in bitching about not being involved. For God's sake, blood doesn't make you family. Actually it does, but love makes you be loved. For folks who weren't invited, boo-hoo-hoo. It costs buckets of money to host a wedding. If I haven't seen you in 6+ years, likely I won't miss your sorry ass if you don't attend. It comes down to this. If you are special and a part of my life, I will invite you. If you are just blood related and I never or rarely see you or don't like you, probably your company isn't worth a couple $100s for a wedding, dinner, and liquor. Take that as a message and a hint that we just don't like you all that much. Sorry, not sorry. Wishing you and your boo a million years of happily ever after. I don't know. I just thought that whole post was kind of insensitive and rude. Or is it just me? I had a younger cousin who got married recently, and we didn't even know she was getting married. We saw pictures after the fact, and we were kind of told in passing. And were we a little offended? Yeah, and I think it's because we thought we were closer than that. We at least would have come to support, and gotten a gift, but we didn't even get notice that it was going down. But we moved on, we're over it. And are we close? Well, we're close to her dad and her mom. So we would have expected to know. I think if we were to get married, they would expect to come to our wedding. So I just find it a little strange. But we didn't bring it up to them. We kind of took it as a hint. Maybe they didn't want extended family there. And that's their right, obviously. So no, we weren't bold enough to bring it up. But we kind of side-eyed them for sure. But what is you guys' take? Do you think that the bride and groom should have made more effort to get the extended family into photos? Or do you think that they were within their right? And what did you do for your wedding if you've had one? All right, make sure you get down in the comments and let us know what you think about these stories. And remember to stay drama-free. Until next time.